everybody, welcome to day 12 of the 60-day novel writing challenge, where we're going to be discussing character occupations and why it matters to research them ahead of time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already, and then whatever it is you're drinking today, for me it's literally just water. Kind of boring, but good for you. Go ahead and grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. That I want everybody to research their character's occupation and be as knowledgeable about it as possible is because, one, it makes for a more immersive story. It makes it seem like you as a writer know what's going on, but also it puts in the details that make the world real for the reader and sometimes give them something that they've never experienced before. Also, though, the reason I want you to research it is because I don't want you to get this wrong. Unfortunately, writers do sometimes write about occupations that they don't thoroughly understand, and readers may know more about it than they do, and they pick up on it and they are usually very angry. So, for example, if you are writing a crime thriller and you misappropriately describe the gun, not only will your knowledgeable readers notice, you instantly lose any credibility that you had as a writer and as the narrator of the story, as somebody who understands what's going on. So it's really important to avoid mishaps like that. I'm going to tell you one actually that has bothered me forever, and it was Twilight. And I actually really loved reading Twilight, so I'm not here to bash on Twilight in any way. But there is a scene in one of those books that will always stay with me because it still bothers me, where they were out elk hunting, because you know, that's what vampires do. And they described one of the male elk as a buck. And that is not what a male elk is called. It's called a bull. That would be like calling a female horse a doe. That is like how wrong that was. But Stephanie Meyer didn't know that. None of her editors caught it, and so it made it into the final book. And that's something where possibly if she'd done a ton of research into the subject of elk hunting, which, you know, it wasn't the main plot of the story, but if she was going to describe it, it may have helped to have researched it ahead of time. And before we move ahead to talk about the best ways to research these, I want to first clarify that if you have a student-aged main character, saying that they are a high school student is not an occupation. You need to be more specific. So are they a band kid or a football player, or are they on the debate team or in the chess club? You know, where in the school do they fit? Find their niche and make that their occupation. And then we want to put the same level of research as we would into any job into kind of that niche within their school. And it's the same thing with college students. That's not the occupation. You want to know what specifically their major is and where they fit within that school. Because there is a drastic difference between business majors and English majors and music majors. There's a different atmosphere that comes with every department and kind of a different style of culture that comes with them as well. And so that would be what you need to research, is whatever their major is, know it inside and out, so that if an English major is reading it, they're like, oh man, I resonate with that. I remember that from my classes. It should be something that feels real to them. So for example, in the College of Business, students are there to network. They are there to find their future business partners. It's all about that good firm handshake and a confident voice as you're speaking to people. That is what they're there for. Whereas I was also in the marching band when I went to college, and we literally like ran through the streets dressed in garbage bags, playing our instruments in the middle of the night. So knowing those is important. If you're gonna write a student who's in the band, you need to know the crazy things that the band gets up to when nobody's looking. So of course the best way to research these things is to have an in-person interview and go for a ride along with your local police officer if you're writing about the police department, and see it firsthand. Get those details that maybe they wouldn't even think to tell you in their interview. Realistically though, that may not be something that's available to you. It would certainly be difficult considering that you're supposed to be doing your homework about the character's occupation all in one day today. So for the sake of this challenge, we'll talk about the best ways you can find this information online. What I would highly recommend, you know, Wikipedia is great and you probably should read it if you're learning a little bit about the occupation, but try looking into blogs and vlogs a lot more, because that is people's uncensored look into what that culture and that life looks like. If you want to write an accurate depiction of a dancer, you want to look deeper than just the Wikipedia article about dancing. You want to maybe start YouTubing things like how to fix, I don't even know what it's called, but when their feet get all messed up, how do you fix that? What are some remedies that dancers use? If they work in a factory, try to find video footage of what it life sounds like inside that factory. What do the machines sound like? Like, what sounds are they making when they're working properly? Maybe look up what sounds they're making when they're not working properly, and that could be something that just gets slipped in conversation somewhere. Of course, it needs to be relevant, but knowing details like that can make the world feel so much more immersive. And that is why today's homework is, of course, going to be researching your character's occupation. So as you're doing your research, try to look for things like common problems that come up in the job that they have, common complaints that people have. Why do people get into this job? Is it because of the money, or is it because it has great benefits? And then know the technicalities of how it all works. Definitely have the correct terminology, that's important. But also know that you're not gonna sit down and explain to your reader every single thing that you find in your research, because that then sounds like a research paper, and that's not what we're going for. But it's the small details that will come up that you didn't know about that just make the story seem more real and seem more immersive. So as always, I'm gonna jump off and do this too. I'm gonna look up a lot about circus performers and how that works, because I am actually not super savvy about that sort of thing, but I am looking forward to learning about it. Remember that we need to add 10 more ideas to our notes and ideas document today for a total of 120. And then if you haven't hit that subscribe button below, go ahead and hit it now, and I will see you guys tomorrow on day 13 of the 60-day novel writing challenge.